Shout out to the Hype Magazine.
And we right here with the Hype Magazine. You already know what it is.
Hey, what's good, everybody? Welcome to another live session with the Hype Magazine. I'm your editor-in-chief, Dr. Jerry Doby, and today, when you have the opportunity to say thank you to someone who helped launch your career, motivate you, ignited your critical thinking processes, and helped develop your never say never attitude, you take it. It's not about me, but I want to say that early at the beginning of my career, this man, Michael Harry-O Harris, a legend in Los Angeles, where I hail, gave me an opportunity to be the talent coordinator on the award-winning documentary, Welcome to Death Row. Everybody knows about the 1.5 and the Broadway plays with Denzel. This man has impacted careers forever. And we appreciate you. I personally appreciate you and the support early on and the positive affirmations that you gave me, the times that we did speak during that. And here we are today as you continue. I'm honored that we full circle, and this is the first time we've seen each other face to face. We've spoken by phone, and Harry-O, thank you so much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for having me this morning. And
Man,
it's been a pleasure, and I know we made the right decision when you came on as coordinator and organized the project so that we become an award-winning project. And thanks to you and the team. So I'm always grateful to you for that, my brother.
Well, the honor is mine. The honor is mine. I'm grateful to you for the belief. So, where to begin? Down for 33, started making changes personally and affecting changes within inside the system. And now, recipient of a presidential commutation in 2021 and hit the ground running. Took a few years to breathe, collect thoughts, recon the situation, and see where you could most continue to affect change, positive change within the communities, school systems. And as such, I guess everybody who doesn't know, he's the founder of Godfather Entertainment. He's the co-founder and the original financier of Death Row Records, which helped launch the careers of Snoop, Dre, Pac, you know what I mean? Just so much. And now he's come out, he's used his wisdom and his overstanding, his understanding, and his understanding of what we need, not only in the streets, but in our schools and as human beings, both on the financial tip, educational tip, et cetera. And he has come out with the Michael Harry-O Harris O-Plan Challenge, which just an hour ago, he went live with and delivered to the presidential candidates. It's broken into two parts. You have the access agenda and the redemption agenda. The access agenda creates access to opportunities for the community that, promote economic self-sufficiency, incentivize responsible home ownership, develops comprehensive and targeted economic empowerment programs, expands workforce training, and increases capital for the community by more than 500 billion. Yes, never thinking small, understanding that this village has serious needs and Band-Aids ain't gonna get it. We need to get in there and dig in. The redemption agenda, which we'll get into, is advocate for hiring practices that promote seeking well-qualified applicants from the local community.
Yes.
So as we buttress the educational system and prepare people with critical thinking and skills that are needed for future jobs that are coming that we can see, making them available in the local communities and hiring from within, kind of like the Kobun system in Japan. Mitsubishi uses this system. Toyota uses this system. You know, the Nikkei uses this system. Educate them, prepare them for the future jobs, and to help provide those jobs, creating a community of verticals. It's a beautiful, beautiful, well thought out thing. And second, you know, past the second round of reforms, the two-step or next step act. We're going to expand on that. Mr. Harris.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much for being with us. And let's get into it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, you jump right into it. Yeah, this is a big day for us. Community first. I just start with the name. I just think that a lot of times our community is overlooked, but we always need it to help push people over the line. And so, how do we fix that? How do we continue to help people get a position to represent us, and they do not? So I think the best way to do that, and you eloquently described the old plan and what it's about, is to say what you want. Look, I don't speak for everybody. Matter of fact, Community First is out on the road trying to hear from people, what do they really need, so that we can help amplify that. Because people always come into our community telling us what they're going to do, as if we don't have a brain of our own, if we don't know what our necessities are. So I just tried to put together something that can be something that we all can agree on. We all can agree on better schools. We can all agree on choices for better schools. We can all agree on the different generational jobs that help us make the type of money we need to make today to take care of families. And that we need resources to come into our community so that we can do business on the level that other communities do business on. So even with opportunity zones, that's a very important dynamic that we need to be wise about, and how to utilize that resource to enhance our communities. So we just tried to go down, streamline some policies that the next president should implement, so that we don't continue to help individuals become the president of the United States and not take in consideration what our community needs and help push those policies through. So that's what this is about, brother. It's just, yeah, I'm in the entertainment business. I've been blessed to be released, to come back home and to just check it all out. But I had a lot of time when I was in to see it, and to see people coming in and out, and there's some things was just, the same reasoning behind the mistakes that were made: lack of education, lack of financial knowledge, how to create businesses, how to have patience when it comes to orchestrating and structuring your life. And so that's why I just think it's a two-part, that we need to talk about what needs to happen in our community and what happens behind the walls, because we have so many of our people behind the walls, unfortunately. And so when they're there and you have a captive audience, what do you do to share wisdom with them so that they can learn trades while they're in, that will allow them to come home and have gainful and meaningful employment? And then as a community, how do we receive them? Because they're coming home. And what are they coming home to? And if you don't want people to continue to fall into that vicious cycle, you have to be part of the solution. So this is not just somebody else needs to help us. This is us as a community using all of our resources and communicating with one another to make that difference that we all envision, instead of sitting on the sideline watching and criticizing and judging and not trying to figure out strategic ways to make that change happen in our community.
Okay. So Community Action First, our Community Action First Inc. is nonprofit that's
Nonprofit.
focused on cultural approaches to boost awareness and engagement in overlooked communities. That's, to break it down or to elevate it to the people say, well, what is he talking about? Because they've never lived it.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you never smelled the smoke.
Right. That part.
You don't have the t-shirt.
Right.
You know what I mean? And people say, well, why do we want to participate? Well, we're looking at our future leaders now, and we're looking at those that are still victimized by the chains and images of psychological slavery. And
Right.
it's not about physical slavery, but psychologically saying, I'm not worthy, I can't. As recall at the beginning of this conversation, I was one of those, I stomped through LA, and I was I can't at first.
Well,
And here I am now, having, my life being ignited. I'm just an example, a case study of what Harry O, Mr. Harris, has already been implementing for over 3 decades. He's been teaching these gems. Everybody has a story, about what they've done to move forward and excel and to create a foundation. To come home and not be judged by that and apply those experiences and stories to better benefit humanity. This is not just a local issue.
No, it's not.
People are born in LA.
Yes.
But they transfer, migrate, and spread the knowledge that they gain from their local community worldwide. And it creates a legacy of empowerment by coming through and successfully participating in programs such as higher education programs, magnet schools, directed education that prepares you for future jobs. And you've been an around the corner thinker.
Yeah, I've been blessed.
You've been blessed.
I've been blessed because sometimes, like being away, you go through a lot of drama. And you can take a negative approach to it, or you can take a positive approach to it. Like whether you're actually innocent of something or you're guilty of certain things, maybe you don't feel like you should be in prison to that extent. But it's what do you do in the present while you are incarcerated? How do you change your life and help change the lives of others? And I was lucky enough, I was in San Quentin at the time where I started engaging a number of programs, and then later on helped create a number of programs like Last Mile Coding, teaching prisoners how to code, which has become a national program now. Mm-hmm. And so just watching people change their lives inside that bubble and then come out and become productive citizens. I'm always thinking like, what's the preventive part of this? How can we do things before people get incarcerated that help generate the mind and expand the mind so that you don't get caught in these boxes and traps? And so I just been on a mission, and I just been on a journey, and I just been mixing the wisdoms that I've been blessed to, from God to be able to receive while I was in that situation. And it would be a tragedy in my mind to come home and not share some of the wisdom and the jewels that I've been blessed with through my own journey. And Community First is becoming that platform. It's organic. There's no where we're gonna end up with this. It's just we need to have the conversations. We need to hold people feet to the fire, and we need to get those results that we seek.
The conversation that is flying around during this election year, of course, are politicians getting on television and national platforms and not necessarily saying a whole lot of anything. The one program that I really wanted to key on was the home ownership,
Yes,
and and letting people know responsible home ownership. You know,
exactly.
uh, I'm in a market now where the rent to own uh, uh, opportunities are much better than LA.
Yes,
I'm in the Kansas City market, so
right.
it's really much cheaper economically here to do that, and people are more open. LA is more of a greedy town. What can I get? What can I get right now in my pocket? And how much can I get from you?
Right,
How long can I get it for?
right.
And the opportunities with that mindset, the opportunities for home ownership don't avail themselves readily to the person who's working those 3 jobs at McDonald's, who, is paying what are you guys paying, like $7, $8 a gallon of gas. You know, you've got to
Easy.
you've got to budget a rent payment in gas
Right.
to get back and forth to work.
Yeah, it's crazy, and,
Mhm.
and so that's why on my platform I'm going to be bringing on organizations that have kind of like real innovative when it comes to rent to own programs that can be utilized in various markets. And
Mhm.
I just want people to be introduced to it and see how they can engage into it. So it's like it's not no specific organization, but there are different ones who are ahead of the game when it comes to this. I want to bring them onto the platform so people can tap in and see for themselves, does this fit into my program? I just think that we need to start where we are, you know what I mean? And so when you have one of my community first uh, duties will be to identify those kind of programs and kind of walk people through them so that it can be attainable to them.
Mhm.
And so that's one of the pillars inside the O plan that we want to, from the top to bottom, up and down the ballot, but also at the highest place in America. We want that to be an issue, that people becoming owners of their own homes change generational wealth. It really ignites it. And so we're very focused on that aspect of the agenda.
I love it because you presented this as a direct challenge to the candidates. I'm nonpartisan. I'm in this at this moment.
Yes.
Uh, but one of the candidates has talked about a uh, first time homeowner program, which allows a certain amount of tax credit to help first time homeowners buy a home. Commingled with the rent to own program, this benefits not only the new homeowner, but the property owner, the seller. You know, kind of like you remember the JTPA program where people were getting tax credits for hiring kids out of high
Yeah,
school.
exactly. Yeah, I
You know,
remember.
I see the simile in that conversation from that candidate and what you're proposing. I can see it fitting inside this because not only uh, is it something to get that tax credit and have that rent to own program, maybe that's applied there, but learning how to budget that bread
Right.
and
Yeah.
keep it going so that you don't lose the opportunity. Uh,
Right. That's important. Financial literacy has got to be also an important component because you can put people in a situation where things can become worse if they're not given the wisdom to be able to navigate these new responsibilities.
mm,
So that's it's a full class, if you will, in terms of how to make this really stick, how to make this work, how not 4 years from now or 10 years from now we're sitting here having the same conversation. It can't. It can't. We can't continue to do that. It has to stop.
I don't think psychologically the middle class or the blue collar person coming up can handle it much longer.
No, I don't think so either. I go around the country, and like I said, Earth is our turf. It's not about one particular community. It
Right.
is the entire community, and I just see people suffering, and I just think that we get caught up in the smoke and mirrors, with all of the ads and what people are talking about and what they're arguing about that has nothing to do with the people that's suffering and the people that's trying to elevate their lives and their community. And so I just wanted to start that conversation. I appreciate you for providing me this opportunity on your platform to also get people to just think. Let's think more instead of spending our time judging, and being distracted about things that has nothing to do with the betterment of your community or betterment of your home.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that this is not the time to get caught up in distractive mechanisms. We need to say what's important to us and how can we get it and who's the best person to help us get that. Mm-hmm. And so we have to go down the list and, different people, like you say, it's a challenge. So not picking one side or the other side. It's who can identify with these policies and really make it happen. See, it's one thing to say I'm gonna back it, but do you have the power to push them through? So that's important too. So you can get somebody on you that can click in, but can you do what needs to be done to make these policies a reality?
Yeah, the level of commitment once you are awarded or earn the position of power, the level of commitment to those promises and those policies that you put forward, and that community leaders like Mr. Harris are putting forward, it's a clear outline, a guideline. This is what's needed. Everything's presented logically as I'm reading it in step, stages, and degrees. It's well considered, so we need people to stop being just thinkers and knowers. We need them to complete that stage of life and become doers.
Doers. We need that. And no one person can do it. No one organization can do it. It's the collective. That's why it's community first. It starts with our community and should end with our community. If what's needed to push this election over the line is our voices, our commitment, our signature, then there should be a deal made that we get something for our efforts, that we don't just get used and abused as we've been used and abused decades.
Once again, yeah.
Let's stop now.
Yes. I do not wish to be a negative Nancy, but we've all through history, those that are aware are, used to the powers that be within the United States government making promises.
Right.
And rescinding those promises with no notice and just show up with the poison blankets. And
exactly.
You feel me?
Right. And so our thing is, when that happens, why do we reward that? So we got to start rewarding that. That if a particular group, whatever that group is, promise you something and they don't do it, then why do you fall back in that slot to be used again? And that's how you get change. When you says no more, if you promise me something and you don't do it, then I'm done. And that's how you engage the balance of power. That's how you do it. You have to be in the game.
Right.
And you have to make that deal. And everybody got to do their part, because you got to remember, they're supposed to represent us.
Us, absolutely.
We don't forgot that part.
Yeah. You can't, you represent us, we the people. That is your commitment once we accept you and put you in place.
Right. How do we how you forget about us? How you gonna forget about us? You know what I'm talking about? So
Right.
that's what this is about, you know. And look, it's not gonna be easy. Nothing is easy that's worth changing, but it has to start somewhere.
Right.
And I think this is a good place to start. And
It's amazing.
and we just gotta stay vigilant with it. We gotta make it happen.
So not only in the legislative circles and in the educational circles, you know, LA, since we're talking about the starting point, um, LA has brilliant minds and teachers. When they started the magnet school programs, you know, for engineering, and this was before STEAM and STEM, you
You're
know,
right.
but engineering and architectural, mathematics, things like that. Somebody saw this coming and knew that we would be in this age where those brains would be needed, and thus the magnet school, you know. Um, and so if would you mind exploring a little bit more about the dedicated educational systems preparing students for future jobs and how you see that um, coming about?
Yeah, like look, I don't knock college. I think college is great. I think higher learning is great, but I also think specialized skills are great, and especially with the rate that technology is moving, especially with the with the AI moving.
AI, yeah. Mm-hmm.
That if you know we're becoming dinosaurs as we speak. So I just think that we need to have more dedicated, focused training to so that we don't say, "Hey, the computers are taking us out." We are controlling the computers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way we're going to stay in the equation to be able to bring those specialized trainings into our community so people can get trained now, have opportunities now, and reap the benefit now. So that's what I'm looking for to help bring to the communities jobs that will help us not only stay in tune, but soar. And so I think we have to be more focused on that type of dedicated training.
I really appreciated one of the points um, in the plan is allowing Pell Grants to be applied to the
Right,
specialty training schools now, which is a difficulty thing. A
right.
lot of specialty training schools are privately held or state held or whatever, and Pell Grants, federal funds aren't allowed to be applied to those trade schools. I thought that was an absolutely powerful and brilliant addition to the
Yes.
access.
Yeah, I did too. So that's why, you know, we wanted to be like, we didn't want to be all over the board, but we wanted to have meaningful policies, like, and bring in incentives that could really make the difference. And think it out. Like, how could this happen? What do we need to fight for? What can change the trajectory of our communities? And that's why everything was thought out the way it is. And the way you articulated, brother, I would think you wrote it because you know, I really respect your brain, bro, and the way you laid it out. It's
Appreciate it. Thank
to
you.
hear it come back, you know, after, you know, I know what it was like to dig down and said, we can't be everywhere. Well, what can we do something so people can take us serious? And then it covers more than less. And that was the thinking behind the old plan.
You know, I don't want to sound like a fanboy, but
No,
you
no,
know,
we ain't doing that.
but this is
Respect,
this
brother. Just respect for each other. That's what it is.
this is the conversation, the leadership that we need vocalized, that we need to be seen on a national scale. We can start on the home front, LA, all day. You know what I mean? I'm good with that because we impact, as our music has impacted the world and changed the dynamics of music, so can our brains affect the dynamics of economics and educational opportunities. And, it sounds cliche. Everybody's talking about generational wealth.
Right.
But if we're not prepping the 7 generations to follow us, then we are not really doing our job.
We're just talking. We're just talking.
We're just talking because, as we can see, plans have been there's a movie called The Sting. Robert Redford, Gleason, all that, right? And Redford says, this is called long con. This is,
Yeah.
you know what I
Long
mean?
game. Yeah. Low shoe game. Yeah.
Long
Yeah.
game, right? So the in the 70s, when, and some people, and I don't really subscribe to this thought, when they took corporal punishment out of the homes,
Right.
the we and out of the schools. All right. Now, I don't agree with somebody else really just like getting down on me like that. But my parents, they were brought up with specific survival skills, social mores, social intelligence, community intelligence. The war drums, the griots taught us how to maneuver within a system and create our own. This is how Jackie Robinson was able to create the first Black bank in Harlem, New York,
Yeah.
the first Black construction company in New York. Speaking of which, you may not know Mr. Harris but he was also had a development company that built shopping centers.
What's
And
that now? Yes.
I wasn't talking. I'm talking to the audience. I got
Okay, bro.
4 million people listening to me.
Check your checking ain't cheating, right? Yeah. I just wanted to know that I was very aware of it, and I'm glad you making everybody else surprised to it.
Oh, absolutely.
And it's good to hear that, and we need to put more of that out because that goes back to schooling.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you're taught that makes you feel inspired.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear stories like this back then, that was moving in that direction. If you were educated to know that,
Mm-hmm.
that's the thing that would kill the dropout. See, dropout comes because you feel like you're being pumped with a bunch of lies, and so it's hard for you to be engaged. Even though dropping out of school, I would never advise that to anybody. But I also will not continue to be okay with leaving out important people of our history that was doing enterprising things so that young people can look up and say, oh, she did that. Wow, I can do that. So that's important.
I was talking about you in the first place. I wasn't talking about him.
Oh,
you were responsible through your construction company early on.
Yes.
With building several shopping malls.
Yes.
Shopping centers.
Yes.
So not only did the construction companies and the workers get the money to build, but to use the Reagan term, the trickle down economics became jobs, the janitors, the security guards, the salespeople who worked inside of those. So
yes.
Mr. Harris is not simply talking from theory. This is application, things that he's done in the past and come back. And this is the leadership that we need physically present in our communities to say it's not too much to think that I can create a construction company. I forgot the name of what your construction company was.
It was Telus Construction.
Telus, right? Telus Construction. That's not too wild to think of that. You don't have to just be the handyman doing remodels. You could, in the program, Access program is also the education on how to deal with the government contracting system, that SAM.gov.
Yes.
I am a contractor. I am a part of SAM.gov.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't think about that. Oh, you went to school for HVAC. Well, guess what? Yesterday, I saw a $2.5 million contract on SAM.gov to do HVAC on a military installation.
Well, see, that's why I put it in there, because when I was in the construction business, I realized some of the obstacles that we face,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
and that I was just trying to move it forward. Even in this plan,
mm-hmm,
we got in a position to do certain things that other people were not,
mm-hmm.
and to be able to push it through. But some of the stuff is set up to fail, and so you have to figure out, like you say, strategies around those built-in obstacles that
Yeah.
that so many other people are so sophisticated in placing in front of you. And so that's why we're trying to cover the gamut. You know what I mean? We want to deal with every aspect of our community that could become that engine for change on a real level. So yeah, and you talked about the 70s and also those wars, whether it be war on drugs, war on poverty, and war on crimes. Those are psychological wars that anytime you say war, that means that somebody is being attacked,
Right.
and and we know who those victims were, and so that's why the corporate punishment, all those different mechanisms came into place, so we could lose control of our homes, and certain programs was given to certain people if the man was outside the home. All these type of disruptive. Here's the carrot. Here's the switch. So just being so aware of those situations and thinking forward, like how can we now combat that? How do we really dig into that and realize that it had a psychological effect on us to today?
Yes.
It's just a different form of slavery
Yeah.
that we can't allow to continue to be around.
I bring up specific components of the plan because it's beautiful, it's well considered, and run some parallels to my life. Like I said, you ignited something in me, and here we are, several decades later. What you taught then applies today, and it's even more imperative because those trainings have fallen by the wayside as we continue in this cycle of babies raising babies, and each one forgetting the trainings, the survival skills, the thought processes, the game of life
Right.
that was taught by our previous generations. If I'm not mistaken, and I'm old, I have TBI, and certain things are spotty for me, but I believe your mother had a restaurant.
Yes. Yes.
So entrepreneurial spirit was taught to you from the beginning. You expanded on that in
Yeah.
various.
Yeah. Watching my mother engage the community
Mhm.
had a profound effect on me. Uh, Understanding just the whole ecosystem, like what did it does it's good to have a business, but what does it take to have one?
Mhm.
And so she broke it down. She would teach us every aspect of the business so that when it was time to enter the market, I was well aware of what it wasn't a joke. It ain't a game. People's lives are affected by the way you do business. And so I always try to do class businesses. I mean, even my limousine service, I was able to do that at a young age and engage different aspects of the entertainment world, but also just throughout the community at large. And I was also in the car leasing business. And so it was just business after business. It was like, but it came from something. And to your point, when you have somebody that uh, is an example for you to follow and you follow, the, the sky's the limit.
Yeah.
And I think people get caught up in some of the negative aspect of what happened in my life
Yeah.
and discount the positive things that I was able to achieve and accomplish. And I don't have an argument with that, because it is what it is. But my intent, I think it's always about intent. What is someone's intent? If your intent is to better your community, even though you might have made some missteps and hurt your community, is how do you then come back and says, okay, let's fix this. Let's try to fix this. let's think about something that's constructive instead of destructive,
Right.
and then all that comes into play.
Yeah.
And
It's good to have you. It's good to have you back. And it's good to have you at the helm of our community first. I you know, our Community First Action Inc. It's more than a name. It is something that you've lived in various uh categories. I'm from the city, I'm from the land. I,
yes,
I know this to be true. You know, here I am as the editor-in-chief of the #1 digital publication in the world.
congratulations, my brother. Proud of you too, man.
It had to be ignited by someone who had made it happen, who spit the game and said, boom, 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 quitting is not an option. You can't quit on yourself because you have a downline. 6 kids, 15 grandbabies. I'm still here,
Yes, sir.
retired from the military, and I got a couple of PhDs. But you know what? If someone hadn't have said something and gave the opportunity to exercise skill sets, learn new skill sets, apply critical thinking, to be in situations, in rooms and conversations that you normally wouldn't be in, there's no development. There's no forward progress as an individual. And as an individual component of a global team, you cannot hold down your sector without knowing how you contribute to the person on the left of you and the person on the right of you.
That's why it says access. You have to have access. That's the key component here. We need access.
Mm.
We need access to academic development. We need access to better schools. We need access. We need access to better job programs. We need access.
Mm.
And that's what we're fighting for.
And you're going to get it. And the direct challenge to our candidates, you're asking us for something. You're coming up knowing and seeing that we've had need of multiple things. And there have been some limited deliveries, but there's no stick-to-itiveness from the upper to the commitments and promises that they made and recognizing the needs of the people. The old plan is comprehensive. It's well thought out. There are delineated tasks that need to be accomplished. And there's really no question other than how do we make this component live?
Right.
And how do we execute and support?
Right. And so it's going to become important, like you just broke down so eloquently, to make that determination is who has leaned in on us, where's the example of it, and who hasn't. And we have to look through the smoke screen. And we can't just get caught up in optics. It's because that's what happens with all this media stuff. What I mean? That's why I love your show. You have direct conversation about real issues, and there's no room for the foolery. It's like, this is what we're talking about, and we pray that people listen and hear it in the same spirit that we're trying to deliver it. That it's up to you what happens. You have the power to exercise it. So you have to put the knowledge. You have to connect to the knowledge of what is, not what people say. What's real and what's not.
You said it the best, yeah?
Yeah.
When people show you, when they tell you,
right, we believe them, right? But what is it that they're actually doing, opposed to some people say things that don't make no sense.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, what did you do?
Did you do?
You know what I mean?
Did you
You know,
progress?
my life don't make sense. You know, yeah, he was this guy at first, but what is he doing now, and what has he been doing?
Mhm.
It speaks for itself. You
Okay.
can you can lay on the negative if you want to and say, "Oh, that guy, he's nothing. He did this, he did that." If you want to, and miss everything that has taken place throughout the journey.
That's the key. The lessons learned throughout the journey. How are those challenges, those triumphs applied moving forward to elevate future generations and fulfill our responsibility as gray hairs and elders?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I don't handle
Well, you know, I almost shaved it off, but I'm like, nah, then you're gonna really think I'm a copycat. And no, that's not what this is. That's not what this is.
You wear it well, brother. You know what I mean?
I
You wear it
appreciate,
well. You look
bro.
good doing it. You look good doing
Afghanistan played hell on
it.
my hair. I got,
Yeah,
I looked down, I had gray hair on my toes, brother. I'm like, damn, time fly. I'm
yeah, man.
like, where did that come from, bro?
And I really appreciate your service, brother. You know, it's like, you know, it's just people underestimate or forget about or just think that was easy. You know, taking that trek and going over there
Uh,
and representing the country, the bigger community. So yeah, you know, just tops out to you, bro.
I think that was all good. That was a fair trade.
Yeah,
Took a young wolf, made him a better wolf, paid him to be a wolf.
right.
But the problem was, I'm an werewolf.
Mm,
I understand that we have a flock we that is being attacked by outside.
right,
They don't belong in this community.
right.
Wolves can also be used to defend.
Exactly. But you got to be in it. Like you say, when you go outside your comfort zone, you
Mhm.
learn things that that you would have never learned.
Right.
And because you're aware, you
Mhm.
need to be in. We all need to be in those different uncomfortable situations so that we can be connected to the truth.
Mhm.
So we can find the truth in the middle of the darkness. You understand?
Right.
See, so
Okay.
it's gonna take courage to do that.
Roger
You know,
that.
yeah,
Roger.
yeah, you know, a lot of people can't get in there with the wolves. You know what I mean? Like I say, you know, if it's a shark tank and it's a guppy tank, put me in the shark tank
Put me in the
because
shark tank.
I get too relaxed in the guppy tank,
You
and
feel me?
you know, I don't have the right to be relaxed. I,
This is fun. This has been a fun conversation. I've looked forward to it for a long time.
Thank you,
Uh,
brother.
and I appreciate you giving me and our platform the opportunity to, right after you drop the challenge, you make me feel like you understand that I understand.
Yes, I
And
know you understand,
we,
brother.
we're gonna get after it. I would gladly be greedy with your time, but you're a busy man with important things to do and other people to ignite. Is there anything you wanted to cover that I may have neglected?
I think you covered it all. I don't think you left anything out, but I will say that. Uh, Outside of thanking you for this opportunity to share the O plan, which is really like it's like something different for me, but it's important to me. And everything I get involved with, I become passionate about, and I dig deep. So people need to know in these next few weeks that I'm a type of person who has always been about my community. Even when I was young and made mistakes, I was about my community. I'm about my community now. So we all just need to take this time and says, what can I do to elevate the community? And how can we get the old plan and turn it into a reality? How can we take the old plan and make it a starting point for change? And that's our voice, is our voice, using our voice and our vote to make sure that we make the right things happen up and down the ballot and continuously. We can't just start and stop. It's a constant check. We got to keep people in check that we expect to represent us. People, if you're not engaged, they forget about you. We can't allow that anymore.
That goes. Well, I want to thank you once again for the beginning of my career and coming on. I was excited. I'm like, man, you don't know. When I started talking to Juliet, I'm like, I know Mr. Harris.
Yeah, and like I said, you made a difference in our project, and
made a difference in my life.
It was about bringing clarity to a situation that had been misunderstood for so many years,
right?
And you helped us do that, and even now, we're still, we're trying to turn something that could have been negative that could be positive, using that platform to reach people all around the world, and then use that connection to have a bigger conversation. So it's all connected.
I'm here and willing to put my platforms, our platforms, at your disposal to aggregate and disseminate the necessary messages, mandates, and assignments.
So with that said, brother, I just like to give a shout out to, to the team at Community First, so people can connect with us through communityfirstaction.org or at Community First Action. And we'd like to hear your thoughts and what you feel about, what we're doing. And we're open to collaborate on how we can work together to make this thing a reality. So thank you, brother.
Honored.
Doctor.
I was just a young punk kid.
No more. Not no more.
No more.
Yeah, you showed that, and I know you're a good representative to your family.
Well, I do the best that I can.
All you have accomplished.
I do the best that I can.
And we'll continue to accomplish, God's will,
I'm not done. I will be empty when I do my final checkout. I promise. All right. The Hype Magazine live sessions. Michael Harrio Harris. Gratitude personally, gratitude from my family, gratitude from our community, and those of us that we pour a sip out for who can't say thank you. It's just a blessing. We're here. You have a resource, an ally. Our Community First Action, Inc. Go check them out on social media. Go check out the website. It is a non-profit. It's not a scam. It is vetted, verified, with clear, concise, powerful messages and motivators that can ignite change on not just your block, but on your planet. Get on board.
Yes, sir.
Ride the train. There we are.
That's the day, brother. Thank you.
We
out. Yes, sir.
As an artist, we should reflect the time.
Why you so talented?
Because I'm black.
Why you so amazing?
Because I'm black.
It's really important that we build characters so that people understand their story matters.
2 Chainz and I both are just really into good food.
And when you know you are royalty, you will only aim in life to be royalty.
We're doing it right now. I don't give a damn what they say about me. Yes, I called your ass out. I know I shouldn't be saying this kind of.
Shout out the Hype Magazine Network.
Shout out to the Hype Magazine Network.